Hi and welcome to Crochet Infusion. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely bag. This is my own design, so I've done this using the moss stitch for the front and the back, and this stitch here is called the Alpine stitch, and then I've just added a lovely little button on. Haven't done those straps because it is actually just a clutch bag, but when you open your button inside, it's quite nice. And it's quite durable as well. So like I say, this is my own design. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I'm going to show you how to make this lovely little clutch bag. So to begin, we're going to start with my main colour, which is oatmeal, and then this one here is cream. And we're going to start, I've done a chain of 40, and because the moss stitch is in a multiples of 2 stitch, I've also done with the Alpine stitch, that's in multiple 2s as well. You don't have to do the Alpine stitch, you can do any stitch you wish, but as long as it's in multiples of 2s. So to begin, you want to chain 40, so make your slip knot and then chain 40, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually forgot to mention I'm using a 5mm crochet hook, and this yarn is a ran yarn. It's really nice actually yarn to work with. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just keep going along until you reach to 40. So keep chaining until you get to 40, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've now got my chain of 40, like so. So what you want to do now, you're going to work into the second chain from your hook. You're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and you're going to work like that all the way to the very end of your chain. So going in from the second chain from the hook, so 1 and 2, single crochet and chain 1, and then skip, and then single crochet and chain 1, skip, single crochet and then chain 1, and then skip, single crochet and chain 1, and you're just going to keep working like this all the way till you get to the end. So skip, single crochet and chain 1, single crochet and chain 1, and this is the start for your moss stitch. Which is a very nice stitch actually. So it's nice and a nice tight closed stitch for a bag, so it won't be too holey. Some stitchings might be a little bit holey, so with this one I find it's quite nice tight stitch. Okay, so we're just at the last stitch here now, and then chain 1. So now we're at the end of this single crochet, well, the single and then the chain 1. We're now going to chain 1 and turn our work, and we're now going to work in the larger spaces of from the previous row. So if you look, if you pull your work a little bit, you'll be able to see you've got like smaller spaces and then larger spaces. and you just want to go straight in to that larger space, single crochet and chain one, and you're going to skip and then go into the next, chain one, you're going to skip that one and work into the larger one, chain one, and you're just going to keep working like this all the way along. Remembering to chain one after you've done your single crochet. And for this bag, I have done this for 55 rows is what you're needing to be doing to get the same size as mine. If you wanted it to be a little bit bigger, you can carry on. If you want to stop because you feel it's too big and you want it a bit smaller, you can absolutely do that as well. So this is just to help you out with initially how to make a bag and how to do these type of stitches. So I'm just coming to the end now, so I'm just going to do a last single crochet just on this very corner here on the end, like so, and then I'm going to chain one again, and I'm just going to repeat that all over again. So if you just carry on working your way, remembering to chain one on the ends and turning, and just keep going all the way up till you've got 51 rows. If you are worried about how many rows you've done, you're not sure how many you've got, it's a good idea to get some stitch counters for this, because your work is going to be quite long towards near the end. If you don't have any stitch markers, you can always just use a little bit of yarn or something and just post it through on either each row that you do, or every 5 or every 3, whichever. But yeah, just keep going until you've got 55 stitches, and I will see you what you need to do next once you've done that. So see you all soon. Okay, so I have worked 55 rows for my handbag, and when you get to row 55, at the end of that row you want to chain one and turn, and then you're going to do a single crochet in every single stitch along the top, and you want to do that for 3 rows of single crochets in every single stitch. I actually ran out of yarn halfway through, so I've had to attach more yarn, so ignore that tail. So once you've got your 3 rows of your single crochets, I will be back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the very end now of my 3rd row, and when you get to the end of your 3rd row, on your very last stitch, you don't want to go all the way through. I'll show you what to do, because we're going to be changing colour. You don't have to change colour, by the way, if you wanted to stick to the same colour that you're using. This is just to show you how to change colour if you wanted to change colour. So I'm just going through these last few single crochet stitches, and remembering when you get to the end here, you're going to go right through that side just there, just to make sure you get a nice clean straight edge. So I'm going to get my new colour, and I'm just going to pop that round the hook and then pull that through both loops, and just try and pull down your old colour and your new colour, and then chain one and secure that on as tight as you can, and then do another chain, and then turn your work. So now your new colour is attached. You can at this point now just cut your old colour, whatever colour you were using previously. So I'm just going to leave quite a bit for sewing, about there, and then I'm going to carry on doing single crochet in the cream colour. So I'm going to go straight into this very first stitch here and do another single crochet, and I'm just going to do a single crochet all the way along until I get to the end, and then I shall show you what we need to do after we get to the very end. Okay, so I'm just nearly at the end now with my new colour, so I'm just going to finish off doing my single crochet and just remembering to go into that very last space on the edge. And now what you want to do, you're now going to chain 3, so 1, 2 and 3, and then you're going to turn your work, and now we're going to be working on a different stitch, which is now called an Alpine stitch. You may have heard this stitch already before. Some of you may have never done this stitch before. I will do my very best to explain how to do this stitch. If you're not comfortable with this stitch that I'm going to do, you can do any stitch you like as long as you're working in multiples of 2s, because the first stitch that we done, which is the moss stitch, and that's a multiple stitch of 2. So any stitch is fine as long as it's in multiples of 2 to finish off your bag nicely. So to begin for this stitch, so we chain 3 and obviously turn your work, and then we're going to work into we're going to do a double crochet, and we're going to work in on the second chain along, and we're going to do a single crochet in every stitch along. So a double crochet in every stitch along. So keep just working your double crochets in each stitch, and when you get to the end here, I will be back and show you what you need to do next. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end now on the double crochets. So I've got one stitch left to go. So I'm going to do my double crochet, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and then turn. So now we're going to be doing a front post stitch, and we're going to go straight onto this post here, this one right here. So to do a front post stitch, we're going to yarn over, go behind that double crochet that you've made from the previous row. You're going to pull your yarn through, and then you're going to pull through 2 loops and then pull through 2 loops, but you want to do this quite loose, and if you are quite a tight crocheter, maybe use a larger hook or something, but you do want it to be, you don't want it to be too loose, but your tension, you don't want your tension too tight, because otherwise it'll just bunch it all together, and that's not what you want. So once you've done your front post, you're then going to go into the next stitch along, and you're going to do a double crochet, and then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to skip this post, the next post. You're going to work onto the following post, so you've got front post, no front post, front post, so it's going to be in that pattern. So every other one you're going to do a front post, and every other one you're going to do a double crochet. So you're going to do front post, and then next stitch is a double crochet, and then at the bottom from the previous row is going to be a front post, and then a double crochet on the next stitch on the top row, and you're just going to keep working like that all the way along. To begin with, this stitch is quite can be quite difficult, and it might take some practice if you're very new to crocheting, but this is good practice for front posts anyway. So now I've done my double crochet on this top stitch here, I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to go onto this one here, and I'm going to do another front post, and I'm going to yarn over into the next, and then I'm going to work a double, yarn over, and you're going to skip that next one and work it to the next of your front post, yarn over, and then you're going to go into the next stitch and work your double, and you're going to yarn over, skip, and then into the next from the previous row, and to work a front post, yarn over into the next, going to do your double, and then yarn over. I'm going to skip that next one but work on the next one across from your previous row, yarn over, and you're going to go into the next and do your double. So it's almost like you're working in a bit of like a zigzag, so it's top bottom all the way along. So you're skipping a stitch on the top, skipping a post on the bottom from the previous row, and you're just going to keep working like that all the way along till you get to the very end. So I will meet you back at the end. I hope you've understood that and I'll meet you back when we get to near the end. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end now on this stitch, and what you want to do now is, once you've got your double crochet at the top there, you're now going to do your last post just on this one, and the second to last, on virtually the last one, and then you're going to do a double crochet on the chain 3 that you done from the previous row, so on the third chain up, so count 3 up, 1, 2 and 3, and you're just going to go straight through and do your double crochet on that very last stitch, just like that. And what you're going to do now is chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work, and now you're going to do a single crochet all the way along the top of here. So now you're going to do a single crochet going from the second stitch along, and just keep working your single crochets all the way along the top. So just keep going in with a single crochet, and it's a really nice stitch once you get started with it. I think this stitch is really nice. It can be difficult when you're new to crocheting, but the more you practice, you know, the easier it becomes. So I'm just going to keep doing the single crochet until I get to the very end to show you what you need to do next. And once you get the hang of doing this stitch, it does become much easier, because it is a case of just repeating over what you've already done. And you can use this stitch for anything that you're making, so as long as you know that it is worked in even numbers. for this stitch. So we're just coming to the end now, and when you get to the end here, you want to go into that very last chain space on the end, and then you're going to chain 3, so 1, 2 and 3, and then you're going to turn your work again, and now you're going to do the exact same thing again, except for you're going to do on this side, you're going to start with doing your front, you're going to start doing a double crochet first on this first stitch here, so not on that one there, on this one here, on this one here you're going to work your double crochet, and then yarn over, and then you're going to do your front post stitch on the third one in. Like so. So you've got your chain there, and then you've got your previous post, and then it's just on that third post there, and then again you're going to do a single, a double crochet on the next stitch, then you're going to skip this one, and then you're going to work onto the next one of your front post, and you're just going to keep working like this all the way along. So you're going to skip this one and then work into the next. And then you're going to do a single, a double crochet again. I keep saying single today. And then do your front post, and then your double, and then skipping that one, and then working your next post. And as you can see, it does get much easier once you know where you're going. So you're going to skip this next one, and you're going to work into this one here. So if we just stop for a moment and have a little look at our work, and we can see how it's starting to look, and I think that is starting to look really, really nice. So just continue working like that all the way along, and then when you get to the end I'll show you what you need to do next. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end again now of this row. So I've just done my double crochet here, and then we're going to skip this one and then work our front post on this one. And then you're going to do your last double crochet on this very end here on the chain 3 from the previous row. Oops, I missed that there. So you need to make sure you go right through. I can't get it right now. There we go. And then work your double, and then you're going to chain 1 and turn, and then you're going to do a single again. So that is the pattern. So you do a single again, and then when you've done your single you're going to chain 3, turn, or turn then chain 3, whichever way you prefer, and then you're going to work your front post, and then your double front post, and keep going along. And if you're not sure where you're up to, you can just rewind my video and just watch it again, because from this point now on, that is how you continue on for this stitch. And then I will be back once I've finished. So you can do this for as many rows as you like. I think I'm probably only going to do maybe another 2 rows of this stitch, because this is going to be for the front of the bag anyway. So once this is all sewn in place together, I don't want it to be incredibly long, so I'm probably going to be sort of something like this. I mean, that would be quite nice to finish it there, but I think just another 2 rows, and then I think that would be nice enough to finish off. So once you've done another 2 rows from here on, I will show you what you need to do next. Okay, so I'm just coming up towards the end now of this last row. So I'm just going to yarn over and go into this, do the front post there, yarn over and go into this one for a double, yarn over, I'm going to go into this one here, yarn over into this one here, and then into this one, yarn over, and then we're just going to work our last one onto here. So I'm not going to do any more rows after this now, so I'm done. You can continue on if you wish and make it a little longer if you wanted to. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to do a single crochet all the way along, and then when I get to this side here I'm going to chain 1 and work another single crochet, except for I'm not going to go all the way along. I'm going to count in to the center, and when I get to the center on the second side I will let you know whereabouts on the center to go, or just before the center, and then we're going to chain 2 or 3 and then skip 2 or 3 stitches and then continue on with a single crochet. So I'm just going to single crochet across, chain 1 and then single crochet across until I'm near at the center, and then I'll be back to show you what we need to do next. Okay, so I'm just coming up towards the center now, and I've just literally got my tape measure. I've measured across in inches, and it's just about 8 inches, and I've just put my I've just used a piece of yarn for a stitch counter, just so I know where the center is. You can use any stitch marker. I've just used a piece of yarn. You can use anything really to mark your stitches. So I'm just going to keep working on a single crochet going along, and when we get to, let me see, when we get to maybe the stitch before, 2 stitches before the stitch marker, we will, so yeah, we'll just do, actually I'll just do one more, and then I've got 2 spaces there. So I'm going to chain 1, 2, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then I'm going to go into the second stitch along from the stitch marker, so 1, 2, 3 and a 3rd chain space, and I'm going to make another single crochet, and that is going to be your buttonhole for your button. And you can just take your button, whatever button it is you're using, and just double check that that is going to be wide enough for your button to go through, and then just carry on with your single crochet along, and then when you get to the end of doing this single crochet, we're going to go back along one more time, and then we're just going to secure that buttonhole a little bit and then carry on to the end here, and then I will show you what you need to do next. So just keep going along with your single crochet. When you get to the end, chain one and turn, and then when we get to here, I will show you what you need to do for this piece here. Okay, so I'm just coming up to the last stitch before the buttonhole. So I'm just going to go straight into that stitch there, and then I'm just going to work into that stitch like so, and I'm just going to do 3 single crochets into there, and then carry on with your single crochets working across until you get to the very end. And that is how I want my work to be, so this stitch marker can now come out. So just keep going along now with your single crochets. So you're going to do 3 singles into that space there, and that just helps to keep the buttonhole a little bit secure. And then when you get to the end here, I will let you know what we need to do next. Okay, so when you finish doing that last single crochet, you're just going to tie off and cut your yarn, and then you're going to turn your work so the outside of your work is facing you, and then you're going to get this end here, and you're going to pull this up to where we've done the 3 single crochets earlier on, and we're just going to line that up nicely so it's nice in line. And then you're going to take the yarn colour that you use, or any colour yarn, because this is actually the inside of the bag, and we're just going to go through either side on at the very bottom here, through both sides, and we're just going to attach our yarn on. So just pull your yarn through 4 loops, make sure you've gone all the way through, chain 1, and then you can work this tail end in as well, just to save you a little bit of time. And you're just going to go through both sides, and you're going to do a slip stitch all the way across. So then you will do a slip stitch all the way up for that side, and then you'll do the same for this side. So I'm going to work my tail ends in, so it's less weaving to do at the end. If you can do your weaving before you start this on the inside, that might be a good idea, which is what I actually done. I done all my, well, apart from these top ones, but I done all the bottom ones of weaving in, and then weaving on this side as well, once you've done your slip stitches across the sides. And then I will show you what you need to do next. So just keep doing your slip stitches all the way to here, to the end, which is going to be about here, just before your 3 single crochets, and then I will meet you back up. Okay, so once you've done your sewing in your ends or your sides together, you can then turn your work the right way round, and your bag should be now looking something like this. If you find that your sides are a bit too bulky, you're not happy with them, you can just undo that single the slip stitch that we did, and rather than going through both of them, you can just go through maybe the back loops only or something, depending on your yarn type. But this is virtually finished now, so all I've got left to do is cut my ends, tie my ends in, and attach my button on. So I'm just going to show you how to attach your button on. If you wanted to, on these sides here, you could just go around on another single crochet just to make it a little bit more squarer if you really wanted to do that. If yours keeps curling like mine does, you can just spray it down with a bit of damp water and then it will soon hold it down. But yeah, this is quite a nice little bag, easy to do, and you can, like I say, cut your ends off. Remember to do a one single and then cut and then pull through, and then tie your ends in. You can, if you wanted to, attach straps to this. You could do if you really wanted to, but this is a clutch bag that I've made, so I'm not going to be bothering with that. I think this is really nice for the summer. So to attach the button, you just want to work out where your where the end here is going to finish. So what you want to do is just work out from roughly about here, and you're just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's about 9 rows down, and just make sure you position it right on where you want it, and then just count again, just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you want it about there, and then you're just going to attach your yarn to your tapestry needle and use the same colour of the yarn that you've already used for your bag, ideally. I mean, you can do anything you like, this is your project. So me personally, I would just use the yarn colour of the bag that I'm already using once it's attached on, and then that is it. So, and that is your bag. So I will leave you to get on with that, and thank you all so much for watching. I hope this tutorial has been good, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Please give me a like or a comment, or even subscribe. You can subscribe if you wanted to. Every week I try to get new tutorials out here for you. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, Crochet Infuzion. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next week. Bye!